Well, that's an interesting point, but this is in place now. It's not. It's been implemented, and the experience of the last couple months since it was implemented is completely to the contrary. There have been very few applications made to the Supreme Court judge. Actually, surprisingly few. So it hasn't opened the floodgates. Any suggestion that it would, that hasn't turned out to be the case at all.
Thank you for your insights.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Tom Croce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Judge, for your appearance here today. I represent the 3rd Senate District, which includes a central islip court complex on Long Island, which, as you know, is co-located with a federal courthouse as well. Some of my concerns come out of a recent visit there, where there's long lines outside of the courthouse. In light of what's happened in San Bernardino and other places, it comes to our attention that having long lines of civilians standing outside of federal buildings, state, county, town government buildings is probably not a good idea. Recognizing that some of the staffing levels the court officers are contending with lead to some of these long lines, and also recognizing that on Long Island our law enforcement has stepped up their approaches to combating the heroin and opioid epidemic on Long Island. We're seeing more individuals who are incarcerated for those crimes and who are going through the court system. So I have 2 concerns. One is the lines and the security situation that it presents. And then 2 is inside the courthouse. We've had instances where rival drug gangs are actually having altercations, and the staffing levels, it seems to me, we're spreading them pretty thin. So I was wondering if you could address that in your remarks. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's a good point that you raise. Lines outside the courthouse aren't good because, as you say, they can create public safety concerns. But it's also unfair to the people who have to wait online if the weather can be inclement, and we don't want people waiting on lines to get into courthouses. It can be a problem. I recognize that, and it again goes back to staffing shortages and not enough court officers in the lobbies at the magnetometers, moving people through the screening and getting them through that, and then so they can go up to attend to their court business. So, I mean, it's a problem. We have to do a better job to avoid lines. I agree with that. What was the second issue?
Talking about actually responding within the courthouse when you have individuals who are involved in drug-related offenses.
We do have a process in place that our court officers in our public safety department try to be aware of when a case comes in, if there's some gang connection, and when we know about that, and often we do know that, if not always, but usually we will know that. If there's some gang connection to a particular case, we will deploy more officers where they need to be deployed when that case is called in the courthouse. So it's something we are aware of and have tried to address.
And one follow-up, are our court officers instructed in the use and administration of Narcan?
I'm sorry?
So are court officers instructed in the administration of Narcan, the anti-heroin overdose drug?
I believe so, but I'll have to check that for you. I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony today. We truly appreciate it. Look forward to continuing to work with you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Commissioner John P. Melville, New York State Division of Homeland Security.
Oh, yeah? For what, 30-30? Okay, let me look at it. Yeah, that's what they keep doing. Judges don't want it. bury them. I know that's all the kids. It works. They'll break my damn car. And I got in the garage, supposed to be $45 a day. And AAA wouldn't be.
Thank you.
How are you, sir? I acknowledged you, didn't I? Yes, I did. I think I did. No.
I had that same question. I'm looking at it was like kind of random.
I was going to say Center Squadrons, so it should. You know, if you ever announced you were running, you would get a half hour, or maybe even an hour, because we'd still save time. We'd still save time.
If we could have some order, please. Need to get underway. We have a long, long list of speakers. Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you, Senator.
Proceed.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Chairwoman Young, Chairman Farrell, and distinguished members of the Joint Committee. I am John Melville, Commissioner of the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you today some of the good work of the agency over the past year, as well as a few of the highlights of Governor Cuomo's public safety budget. The division is charged with an enormous responsibility, which includes an all hazards prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery mission. The governor's budget provides the resources needed to accomplish our mission and protect public safety. Total appropriations are $1.5 billion, up $583 million over the last year. $600 million is added in the event of future disaster. A reduction of $3.2 million in one-time appropriations for civilian preparedness, reduced need for capital financing in the amount of $15 million, and the addition of $1.3 million for an expanded counterterrorism program all contribute to the change. Unfortunately, this past year, our nation witnessed an increase in the number of terrorist attacks and plots. 3 here in New York alone. The most recent example was the New Year's Eve Rochester arrest, which ultimately proved to be an intelligence and operational success. In December, Governor Cuomo stated that the threat of terrorism is a new normal for Americans. Unfortunately, I have to agree. Let me discuss some of the efforts we are undertaking to ensure the safety of New Yorkers from Montauk to Buffalo. This past year, the governor launched the See Something, Send Something mobile application so that people can report suspicious activities. To date, it has been downloaded over 40,000 times. In addition to community-level awareness, we have to arm our first responders with the intelligence information they need to keep pace with emerging terrorism trends. The governor outlined a plan to consolidate the division's intelligence and analysis function into the New York State Police to continue their work at the New York State Intelligence Center, which serves all law enforcement and public safety agencies throughout the state. This will allow the division, as a primary consumer of the intelligence, to focus on key preparedness activities and will be used to inform our decision-making in the areas of grant funding, the Homeland Security Strategy, and target hardening. Ultimately, the collective goal is to provide quick and actionable intelligence to our local law enforcement and public safety partners, who, along with vigilant private citizens, truly are the first line of defense. The governor also proposes $1.3 million in funding to drastically increase the number of vulnerability assessments, or as we term them, red team exercises, the division will execute across the state. In conjunction with Operation Safeguard activities and our See Something campaigns, we want to increase the state's collective detection capacity of tactics that may be used by terrorists in pre-operational planning. The division's red team will then test through a series of adversary-based assessments to determine the success of the preparedness strategy. As a target-rich state, New York continues to rely on federal Homeland Security funding. In 2015, New York received over $262 million from the Homeland Security Grant Program, which has been used in communities throughout the state to prevent, protect, and prepare for terrorism and other catastrophic events. The division continues to advance the state's preparedness posture for all hazards, including natural disasters. Last August, the governor announced a new incident management system called New York Responds to establish a uniform electronic system to be used throughout the state and by all counties. We completed the first phase of the transition in December, with a full implementation expected to be completed this year. We also continue our recovery work, which includes the reimbursement of over $5 billion to New York communities for Sandy, Irene, and Lee rebuilding and resiliency projects. Last year, the governor announced the first in the nation College of Emergency Preparedness, Homeland Security, and Cybersecurity at the University of Albany. To date, 159 students have enrolled in the college's minor program, and by fall of this year, the major program should be available as an official offering. The college also leverages the network of resources at the State Preparedness Training Center in Oriskany for out-of-classroom, hands-on training. The SPTC is quickly being recognized as a world-class facility. The United States Departments of Defense and Justice chose the SPTC to hold the annual Ravens Challenge, which is an interoperability exercise to test the capabilities of bomb squads and military explosive ordnance disposal units. It was such a success that this May, New York will once again host the Ravens Challenge at the SPTC. Moving to citizens preparedness training, in conjunction with the National Guard, the Red Cross, and together with our partners in the legislature, we have been able to train over 95,000 new people. Last year, the governor announced that the Office of Fire Prevention and Control would be deploying 19 trailers equipped with firefighting foam to local fire departments and county hazmat teams. Pre-positioning this equipment ensures the state is well prepared to confront fires caused by crude oil and other highly flammable substances. Finally, the division's Office of Interoperable and Emergency Communications is modifying its approach to the state's interoperable communications grant distribution strategy. This year, there will be 2 separate programs. One will include a formula-based distribution, and the second includes a targeted distribution of $20 million towards statewide interoperability. While not possible to cover all the great work of the division during my testimony today, I hope that I have provided you with an idea of the priorities for the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services into the next fiscal year. These include strengthening response, integration, and coordination, intelligence-driven target hardening, training, and thoughtful investments of state and federal grants to bolster the state's preparedness and response posture. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and appear before you today, and I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that testimony.
Thank you.
Protecting our communities and our citizens is job one for New York State government, and there's an intense interest in what you have to say today by the Senate. At this time, I would like to introduce our Chair of the Homeland Security Veterans Committee, and that's Senator Tom Croce.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner, for your appearance today. It's been a great privilege to have the opportunity to work with you and the staff over the past year. One of the things I'd like to compliment you on is your investment in the prevention and preparedness for the state of New York. I think that was best seen in the recent blizzard that we had downstate. Pre-staging of assets certainly saved a lot of time in responding when the storm finally stopped, and I think that it's partly due, or in large part, the amount of snow that was able to be moved was because of that investment in prevention and preparedness.
Thank you, sir.
I listened with interest to your testimony, and of course we've had conversations about some of the proposals in the budget. In talking about the Article 7 language in Part D of the ELFA budget bill, you're mentioned in your testimony that the transfer of certain assets, human assets in this case, would focus on key preparedness activities that will be used to inform our decision-making in certain areas. So I'm wondering, with respect to that transfer of personnel to state police, what, if any, counterterrorism functions does the Division of Homeland Security retain in that transfer?
Thank you, Senator. We propose to transfer 10 people, or 10 positions from our intel and analysis section in the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services to the state police. That transfer sounds a little more ominous than it really is. In actuality, those people will probably be sitting in the same seats they sit in now. They work at the New York State Intelligence Center with the state police. They are supervised not only by us, by the state police. And what we plan to do is just streamline the chain of command with the analysts, so the information can get right to the people that it needs right away. I need it, I still will get it, but I am not operational as the state police are. They get that information right out to the people on the ground that need it first. I will still get it. As far as maintaining duties with respect to the Office of Counterterrorism, we have a critical infrastructure team that we're very proud of. They do inspections all around the state, some legislated, some not. We are proposing a significant increase in our red team exercises that we will be conducting throughout all the counterterrorism zones in New York State, which there's 16 of them. We have our training center at Oriskany, which we run. It's first responder training for not only police, but fire, EMS, emergency managers, and it's very counterterrorism based. So in actuality, our core mission will remain the same, Senator. We will still be receiving that intelligence information. I still will remain the Homeland Security Advisor to the Governor. I will report to the legislature. And I am still the point of contact for the Department of Homeland Security in the federal government.
So you mentioned that you'll still receive the information regardless of where these analysts are positioned and where they're sitting. That's not clear statutorily in the budget. Are you, I guess we would have to statutorily amend the article in order so that you receive that information, because otherwise how would that information flow from the police now up to you, the state police to you?
Well, the analysts will actually physically be supervised by the state police in this proposal. I will still be a consumer of that intelligence information. As a matter of fact, we recently took on a director in the Office of Counterterrorism in the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. His name is Mike Soretto. He's very qualified, well-respected, 30-year member in law enforcement, and he is actually still a member of the New York State Police, even though he has been detailed to the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, and in actuality works for us now. So Mike still being, Director Soretto still being a member of the New York State Police will ensure that we receive that information, as I have no doubt we will.
So hypothetically, someday we have a new commissioner, we have a new director, and another governor, maybe a Republican governor. So the relationships will change. How do we ensure that that information flow remains the same regardless of those relationships?
Well, the analysts will be at the NYSEC working for the New York State Police. The NYSEC is the fusion center for all of New York, all of our law enforcement partners. It's federally funded, and the mandate to the New York State Police, who runs the NYSEC, is to share that information with everybody. I fortunately have the unique distinction of having worked in the New York State Police for 32 years before I became the commissioner in the Division of Homeland Security. I have the utmost respect and confidence. I know how the organization works, and its main goal, main mission, main function is to push that intel out to the people that need it. It will not be stovepiped.
But there's nothing that's going to be in statute to ensure that. It's because we have great relationships, very qualified individuals in yourself and your new director, no doubt about that. But there's no formal pipeline that's laid out in statute.
Well, I
Is
believe,
that your understanding?
Yeah, I believe, Senator, that the fact that it is the New York State's Fusion Center funded by the Department of Homeland Security, they're mandated to share that information with everyone.
Okay. Obviously, you've had a very distinguished career, again, it's been a great privilege to work with you and get to know you personally. In your professional opinion, and you better than anyone personally dealt with the attacks of September 11th, as did so many in this room and so many in our state, do you believe that we're doing everything we can as New Yorkers, as the state of New York, to protect us, to protect our residents?
I do, Senator. Unfortunately, the threat remains to New York State. New York State is certainly a target. I believe we certainly put our resources into every effort that we can to keep New Yorkers safe. That is our main function, is emergency preparedness, training, response coordination, recovery. I think that we have what we need to do that, and we do it, and we do it very well.